Way down upon the Swanee River, far, far away. That's where my heart is yearning ever, home where the old folks stay, home where the old folks stay.
Welcome to Florida Men on Florida Man with Greg, Wayne, Josh, and Cameron, the podcast where Floridians discuss the crazy but true stories that always seem to take place in Florida. What's happening, y'all?
What's up,
going
y'all?
on?
You know, I'm jealous. Cameron gets to do all the intros by himself.
I know.
He never asks for backup vocals.
Well,
Next time I'll let you know.
Okay, cool.
yeah, I want a choir of Josh.
Yeah.
Way
We can do that.
down.
There it is.
On the, you can cut that.
I'll just cut
extend
that and copy and paste it a
You
few
probably
times.
have enough of my dialogue to just make an intro
Just
song.
piece it together.
Yeah.
That would be a fun experiment.
You guys are in for a treat when that new intro comes out.
It's going to be fire.
It's going to be all Josh.
A deep fake.
EDM track. But it has been a fantastic week. We are
Beautiful
recording 4 days later than we usually do. And
Cutting it close.
bright and sunny on a weekend.
At least our topics will be relevant.
I think
We
so.
hope.
We're looking forward to those headlines. We waited all week for them and then some.
Give it to us.
Let's do it.
What's going on, everyone? We have teamed up with the radio station 101.9 to help promote the Florida Man Music Festival in Orlando, Florida, featuring bands like the 1975, 311, and Jimmy Eat World. We want you and a guest to come spend the day with us, and all you have to do is tag us and the radio station in a story on Instagram or in a post on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook. Our handle is FMOFM Podcast, and the station's handle is FM 1019 Radio. One winner will be randomly selected and announced next week on episode 48 of the Florida Men on Florida Man podcast. Once again, tag us and the radio station in a story on Instagram or in a post on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook. Our handle is FMOFM Podcast, and the station's handle is FM 1019 Radio. We love you guys. Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you at the Florida Man Festival.
All right, guys.
Hey,
Florida woman
Okay.
jackpot.
forces her husband to sign divorce papers at gunpoint.
Okay.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah. Sounds like true love.
I saw this in Twister.
Did you?
Yeah. Is it Helen Hunt?
Uh-huh.
Helen Hunt goes to Bill Paxton and he's like, no. And then he holds up a tornado
And she holds up the gun.
and she holds up the gun and then they tie themselves, as is tradition, to a lead pipe
Yep.
Right.
to make their
The
marriage work.
strap in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I remember that.
Yeah.
All right. So Melanie Sherbrooke,
Oh, we're naming
45 years
names
old.
here. Jeez.
We're going to call her out. She, I guess, held her, I guess her husband wasn't agreeing with her on signing the divorce papers. He decided that he no longer wanted to just sign the papers.
True.
He wanted to take it to court.
Oh,
I guess he wanted a better deal. I don't know. Maybe he didn't
sounds
get
like
the
men.
house in the deal, or who knows.
he got
He
the,
wanted to renegotiate.
he got the canoe. She got the house.
He wanted to renegotiate. She decided that wasn't a good idea. So apparently she went and got a silver revolver,
Sweet.
held
on.
him at gunpoint, made him sign it.
Well, no wonder. I mean, if she's got the money to get a silver revolver,
Yeah.
Yeah.
then he's obviously got a bad deal.
Maybe he wanted the silver revolver in the divorce.
Well,
Okay.
it sounds like a healthy relationship.
So she was handing it over, but pointed it at him.
Well, so what happened is after he signed, he decided to go get his own gun.
No.
So he got a Glock 17
Come
out of his
Whoa.
nightstand and locked the door to his bedroom, went in the bathroom, locked the door in the bathroom, and called the police. When the police showed up, they arrested Melanie and found him curled up in the bathroom with his hands raised. And he's like, I have a gun in my pocket, just so you know.
Oh, they shot him.
Yeah.
Oof.
He's dead.
Oh.
She got the divorce.
Here's the thing. Like, I don't want to make light of like abuse, but you got to be terrified of somebody, and you have to really believe they're going to shoot you if you're going to lock yourself behind like two
Oh, for
doors
sure.
with your own gun. Like I guess when you read the headline, it sounds kind of playful, like oh hey, sign the divorce papers,
Yeah.
or whatever. But
No,
it
that's
sounds
real.
like this guy was like genuinely afraid.
Yeah, she's saying this never happened. She's denying the whole thing. So
Was there a silver revolver found on her person?
I think there was.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, that doesn't help.
There's one of two things happening. You've either held your husband up,
Mm-hmm.
or you're looking for a werewolf.
Yeah,
Because I'm
true,
pretty
that's
sure that's how you killed him, with a silver gun.
Or your husband's
I think
a
it's silver
werewolf,
bullet.
Close enough.
and that's why you're divorcing him, because the husband's a werewolf.
All right, so Josh, be the judge and the jury. Is she guilty?
Nope.
Okay, she's not guilty.
No shame corner.
She's off.
No shame corner.
All right, so next headline: Florida man who was arrested for drunk driving
Okay.
Good.
claims that he only drank at stoplights and stop signs while he was not driving.
Okay.
So he's going to break. He's taking it literal.
He's a lawyer.
Yeah.
Okay.
So apparently, Earl Stevens Jr., 69 years old,
God
Okay.
bless.
was arrested and explained to cops that he had been downing gulps of bourbon
Wow.
only when he was stopped at traffic signals.
You know what probably doesn't help?
Right.
Hit the language he chose to use.
Yeah.
I've been downing gulps of bourbon.
Yeah.
But only at stoplights.
Maybe say I sipped. I had a sip.
Right.
Because I didn't want to get too far from the liquor store and go, this is not my style.
If you're sipping on bourbon, you're enjoying yourself. It's classy.
Yes.
If you're downing gulps of bourbon, you're having a rough week.
Well,
if he's sipping it, he's got the ball ice cube, right?
Right.
It was Jim Beam in a plastic or in a
Oops.
paper bag, so
Oof.
not that classy.
I
No.
like that the fake Jim Beam is called Jim Bean.
Is it really?
No, I don't know. It's called James Bean.
I think that's their coffee branch.
Sounds
It is.
Jim Beam.
That's clever, actually.
Copyright.
So he was driving his Mercury Grand Marquis,
Okay.
it would
beautiful
be a
car.
Classy.
And apparently this whole thing came up where somebody called the cops because he was at a drive-through at McDonald's
No.
and was bumping into the car in front of him as they were moving along.
He's like, move it along.
Yeah.
You know,
So
those double ones are tricky.
Yeah.
they are. You never know who's supposed to go.
You don't.
So he was pulled over and, he was arrested. His blood alcohol level was twice the legal limit in
Yeah.
Florida.
Wow.
So,
How stunned was he to hear the law, after 69 years of
Yeah.
probably doing it?
Yeah.
yeah, he didn't realize that drunk driving meant you couldn't drink while
Yeah,
stopped.
It's it's the motor vehicle, right?
I'm just
That's
surprised
really-
that someone drinking bourbon out of a plastic cup in a bag even owns a vehicle.
Well, so this is actually funny. He told cops that he has never had a valid Florida driver's license.
Okay, there you go.
He's super honest, though.
Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like he's one of those guys where he's just like, he gets pulled over and he's like, hey, man, I know, like, I shouldn't. In fact, I think
I shouldn't have a license. I shouldn't
Yeah.
be completely
He's so
drunk.
apologetic that they're letting him off.
I think after Josh's verdict on the lady with the silver gun, and after hearing how good this guy was to the cops, I say no one in the shame corner this week.
No, leave it empty.
Empty shame corner. Well, minus Craig.
Yeah, well,
That sounds like a great movie, by the way. Lady with the Silver Gun.
Hey, it does.
nice.
Sounds romantic,
bet
actually.
it's real.
Beautiful.
Hey, fellas.
How are you?
I'm doing good. It's a beautiful day here.
It is.
So I got a letter in the
Okay.
mail.
Mm-hmm.
And this one I liked because the topic I like.
Okay.
It says, you guys, all four of you, are probably pranksters.
Right.
Big old pranksters.
Some of us are.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
And can you, if the law allows it, can you expound on some past pranks?
Oh, hello.
That's a good point. If the law allows it.
Yeah, what's
we don't
the
want to
time
say anything
period?
that's going to get us.
Some of us are pranksters. Some
Pulled
of
in
us
jail.
are prankies.
Uh-huh.
I feel like
Some are criminals.
just based on our physique, our
Yeah.
character.
Yeah.
Shoe size.
I don't know what the statute of limitations is
That's
on
what I
some
was
of
looking
these.
for. Yeah.
Right.
So I'll start it off.
Please.
But I'm gonna start off with a prank that Wayne actually did.
Excuse me?
this
Wayne's
is
not a nice person.
Come again?
If we had a chart of nicest to least
Yeah.
nice, he'd be at the least nice. end.
Yes,
But
but
I
the
looked
red
at-
face.
I look the nicest.
Obviously,
Yeah,
it's.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, if you tuck your shirt in, then you beat all three of us.
That's
Thank
true.
you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
So Wayne and I used to play in a band together.
We did.
We broke up. Don't cry about it. But
I think y'all's problem was naming it.
yeah,
Yeah. Hey, search for the. Hey, what's it called? I just told you.
yeah.
You'll love our stuff.
Yeah.
So we played together, and this one night we were at a venue and we were doing an acoustic set.
Nice.
Yeah, beautiful.
Classy.
And I had this one song that I played guitar on, but I also played harmonica.
Whoa.
I know
So
where
I
this is
had
going.
this fancy little contraption
Yeah.
that sits where I could play it while playing guitar too.
Oh, hands free?
Yeah. So we had done our sound check. We had run through a couple things. Felt good. Fast forward, we're going up to play.
Yep.
First song is me playing harmonica.
Sweet.
I go to breathe in on the harmonica. That first note is
Okay.
actually breathing in through the harmonica.
Okay. There's only two ways, right?
Yeah, but
And
that's
then-
the first one.
Okay.
And so I
Yep.
and instantly just mint.
What?
It was minty, disgusting,
Sounds delicious.
waxy. Wayne had taken chapstick and just rubbed it all over my harmonica.
On purpose?
I did do that.
But does it help with traction?
Well,
No.
and he was very.
It was a prank. It was not tasty. It was disgusting.
I just remember him.
I thought I was
looking-
going to die.
I just remember him looking at me in the second song and whispering angrily and saying, "My mouth's burning." The only reason why I did it is because he had this thing he would do with the harmonica contraption on,
Yes.
where he would go, "Look, Mom, no hands,"
No.
and then he would play it, and it used to make me really jealous because my mom never came to the shows. And I'm like, "Not tonight," and so I rubbed it all over the harmonica.
It was really bad.
What mint flavor? Because if it's spearmint, I'm all right with
It's chapstick mint. I don't know.
chapstick mint.
In retrospect, I do see why that was disrespectful, and I would
Guilty.
like to say
That was bad.
10 years later, officially, formally on the air,
Yeah.
I'm sorry for doing
It's like
that.
it's wax. I mean, you can't like.
So you
It
probably
doesn't
have
go
too
away
much
very
traction.
easy.
I just apologize for the first time in 10 years. Accept it.
Guilty.
It was wax. I mean, it wasn't.
I'm not sitting in the corner. I've got it. Okay,
I'm gonna put you in the corner.
I
anyways.
did a prank.
That's rude, especially during a show.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. My prank was out of love as well, just like that one.
But people show up for this harmonica solo.
Yes.
They did.
And I couldn't do it because some of my holes were clogged.
Well,
Amen, baby.
nothing's changed, buddy.
Go on.
So I feel like now I'm the prankster, obviously, because I've pranked Cameron in his story.
Yeah.
And my story revolves around me pranking someone.
Yeah,
but
of course it would.
my friend from high school, great guy, and you know he has a very successful business and company now. He does well for himself.
Congrats.
And he came over to spend the night during the summer.
Recently?
No. I wish, but like it was during the summer when we were coming up, and for some reason my dad like would get tickled pink at just like laughing at like, you know, kind of randomly scaring this guy. My dad would like hide behind the door and then he would walk in and my dad would be like, you know, and like,
Yeah, he's jumpy.
yeah. And my friend's jumpy. My dad's not.
Yep.
And so my dad has this idea. Well, no, it's my idea. My dad helped me deliver it.
This guy.
Brag a lot.
So his name is Chris. Chris is coming over to spend the night, and we had these windows. If you're in Florida, you're familiar with them, called Florida windows, where you can kind of crank them open. They have these little slots. And my dad said, you know, like, look, we'll leave the window open, and then we'll scare him, like while he's asleep in the bed next to the window. We'll find some way to scare him. So early on in the day, we tell him that there's this retirement community nearby, and that this lady like is deranged.
Oh,
and,
man. Y'all laid it out.
Yeah, and she like escaped. And
Well,
back
if you're in Florida, then it doesn't have to be fake because
that it could have
it's
happened
within 5 miles of everybody's house,
right.
a retirement community.
Yeah, that's so true. And so we're kind of ramming it, like kind of like ramping that up the whole day. Like, you know, what if she comes to our house? Like, we should keep the doors locked. Well, back then my dad worked night shift.
Yep.
So he wasn't home. So it was up to Chris and myself to be kind of the men of the house, protect the house, you know?
Yeah.
So that night we go to bed, and basically my mom and my sister, who was a teenager at the time, set their alarm for like 2 a.m.
Oof.
so that my mom could dress up my sister in this long
What?
white gown. And
So this is a family prank.
it's a
This
huge
is-
family prank.
It's coming back to me now hearing this story.
And so my mom put like a long white dress on my sister, like white makeup and a black wig,
Oh my god.
like the girl from The Ring.
Uh-huh.
And Chris's bed is like right by that window.
Yep.
It's 2 a.m. They go out there, and I'm laying awake just waiting for it to happen. And I just hear my sister go, "Help me."
Oh, jeez.
in,
God bless.
in the window.
Nope.
And what made it even like more authentic is we had a wiener dog at the time, a Dachshund.
Wow. We'll bleep that out.
Yeah,
Please.
and when the dog saw my sister, it like yelped,
Oh,
like it
okay.
was hurt
Yeah.
and ran away. So like, and I didn't realize at the time that Chris was laying awake. So like I sit up to look and see if he hears it, and he's just sitting there with like these big eyes, like
Looking straight at the ceiling.
And so I go, "Hey man, did you hear that?" And he's like, "Yeah, of course I heard it." You know, and he's just like kind of freaking out. In his mind,
God.
he's like, "Crap! Like whatever's out there got the dog."
Oh,
And so
gosh.
and the dog's name was Precious, and so he whispered to me, "It got Precious." Okay.
He wasn't talking about the book. that became
No,
a movie.
Push by Sapphire.
Yeah.
No, but no. And so, like, basically, you know, my sister comes to the window and knocks on it. We're both kind of geeked out. And so, but, you know, my dad had given Chris this speech early on in the day, like, hey, you guys are the man of the house tonight. You got to protect it. So Chris took that to heart, and he grabs this like huge knife that's under my bed.
What?
And he looks at me
Two
like dead,
things here?
like dead serious, and he's like, "Bro, like it's up to us." And that's when I had to call it. And I was like, "No, dude, don't. Like it's a prank, bro. Like
Good on you. Don't stab my sister.
yeah, please. She's gonna marry Josh one day."
Hopefully.
Yeah, and so no, it was fun. It was all in good spirit. But I actually did text him this afternoon. I said, "Hey man, do you care if I tell this story?
And do you want to spend the night?
He wet his pants, didn't he?
And do you want to spend the night?" He didn't wet his pants, but he
Not
took
in
it
the
way
front.
better. He took it way better than I thought he would.
Yeah.
And he was laughing about it. Like I think if that was me, I would have been pretty upset. But
I think that's a sign
If
of
you almost killed somebody, yeah.
yeah, right, exactly.
hysterics. You know, when you reach that level of almost dying, it's either cry or laugh.
It's just adrenaline,
yeah.
right? And he chose to fight, not flight. So.
Yeah. And that brings me back. Twister, you see them tied to that pipe.
Right.
Laughing together.
For those who don't know,
That's why.
Josh's favorite movie is Twister. He loves
Bill
Twister.
Paxton, baby.
Yeah.
So my story, thanks for asking. I'll go. I had stepmom.
You did?
Yeah.
How many?
I think we're on 2 now.
Okay.
Okay.
And but more stepdads, but we haven't reached that side of the conversation.
Jesus.
Yeah. Anyways, she's probably listening. Hello. So stepmom number 1 gave birth to Jesus, like we said.
Right. Okay.
That's her name. We didn't get along for some reason. I guess when I hit my teens,
Okay.
and none of my doing,
Right.
because I was a polite young boy.
You were a good kid.
But one night, like they go out, I have the house to myself. I decide I don't want to watch TV on the first floor.
No.
I want to watch TV on the third floor.
Yeah, you have 4 to choose from, so.
So
Rich boy.
I make myself a sandwich with Publix meats.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Wow. Richie.
some mayo, white truffle oil. You know the deal. And then I go up to their bedroom to watch the TV. You know, you sit on the edge of the bed, and you turn the fireplace on, and you turn the TV on.
Sure.
And you run a big bath.
Right.
So I turn TV on, I eat my sandwich, and then I don't remember what I was watching, probably Twister.
Right.
So they get home midnight, and of course I'm sitting there wide awake, and I hear foot stomps to my room, and it's my dad, and he says, "Were you in our room?" And I was like, "Yeah, I want to watch TV on third floor."
Right.
And eat a sandwich. And he's like, "'Cause you got stuff all over our bed." And I'm like, "What? I don't know." And then she comes around the corner, and she has her finger up, and she goes, "It's salt."
Oh,
It's salt?
Yeah.
gross.
And I'm like, "That's weird." I'm not big on. I didn't eat salt on my sandwich.
Wait, did you salt your sandwich?
No.
Okay.
So I was like, "That's not a bad idea."
Yeah.
So I got in trouble for that,
Yeah.
even though I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
And so a week goes by, and they go out, and I dump a little salt in their bed. So I figured she was going to taste anyway, and I'd already got in trouble.
Yeah.
Double
Sure.
jeopardy. Yeah, I can't get in trouble again.
So that is true. Double. So okay. So did she ever find out that was you that put the salt in the bed?
Well, I already got in trouble, so she just assumed it was me. I don't know if she tasted the second round of salt.
That's a really weird
There was
thing
no first round.
to come at you like, you dump salt in my bed.
Yeah,
So by the time she found out, your dad was already moving on to another stepwife
Oh,
possibly.
or stepmom.
jeez.
And why taste it?
Right.
And why? I mean, who put salt in their bed the first time?
Yeah. I think it keeps the evil spirits away.
That's an
so
old Hebrew tradition.
I've done
actually.
it. Yeah.
Could have
Yeah.
been bedroom exploits. It wasn't me.
I have a salt circle around my bed.
So
Oh.
just to clarify, I pranked Cameron.
Yep.
I pranked our good friend Chris.
Yeah.
Josh pranked his stepmom.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, I mean, to say things got better would be a lie.
Right. Jacob Parsons was born November 22nd, 1951 in Crystal River, Florida.
1951.
Damn,
that's
that's
pretty
easy for
soon.
you.
Yeah, that's 68.
If he's still alive,
Math
he's
podcast still
at
got
least 68 years old. Jacob was one of 6 kids. His father, Alan Parsons, was an accountant, and his mother, Janine, was a nurse.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Brainiacs, nerds.
Absolutely. Jacob had an affinity for being outdoors.
Oh, I was
Nice.
thinking it was like a vehicle.
He maybe, but he loved fishing, camping, hunting, one of those guys.
Okay, a cam daddy.
Just like Cam Daddy. He would constantly go camping with his friends and his brothers. And even at a very young age, like his main desire was to be like on a campsite. That's all he wanted to do.
Well, that's a easy life goal to
I
have.
think
right?
so. Just get you a tent, bud.
Serious.
So whether it
You
was
want
like
to be homeless.
no, right, exactly.
Done.
So yeah, like it doesn't matter if he was like on the river in Crystal River, or if he was like in his backyard. Like he literally just would camp out.
Yeah.
That's what he loved to do as a kid.
Yeah.
The problem was that Jacob's parents, they both worked quite a bit. His mom, she had a lot of late night shifts as a nurse, and his father was always at the office as an accountant. So that basically meant that Jacob was left to entertain himself.
Boom. Done.
So while his siblings were riding bikes through the neighborhood or inside playing games, Jacob chose to practice traditional survival skills.
Nice.
Oh, God. Okay.
Yeah. So at the age of 11, he taught himself how to build a makeshift shelter.
Okay.
He could start a fire with flint and build traps to capture small animals.
Didn't we
Yeah,
all
cool.
build makeshift shelters?
I mean, it sounds like that's what we did.
Yeah.
But Jacob was really probably better than we were
Okay.
at it. His parents realized that this was a passion of his and that it wasn't going to go away anytime soon. Like, this is what the kid wanted to do. So in the summer of 1968, they told him that he would be spending the majority of his vacation at Camp Mako.
Okay.
The interesting thing about 1968 is this was the first year that Camp Mako was ever operational.
Okay. You don't want to go the first year of a kid.
Yeah,
You want them to have everything ironed out. Like, oh, last year didn't work.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I learned at camp.
So prior to this year, the 80 acres of wilderness was uninhabited and owned by the state of Florida.
Oh,
There was no records of anyone living on this land since the early 1800s when the Creek Indians traveled
gosh.
south and settled there for about 20 years.
This isn't going to be good, I feel like.
nope. I don't think so.
So for one reason or another, the state of Florida decided that they would clear a little bit of the land and open it for a kids camp.
Sounds beautiful.
Kids camp. Why does kids camp get the thing?
So Camp Mako, it was a very traditional summer camp. It was for kids aged 11 to 16. It had log cabins, girls on one side of a big lake, boys on the other side.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, that is traditional.
You got a lake separating them.
What's
That's real good.
the Mary Kate movie?
You're right. And very
Parent Trap.
Parent
Is
Trap.
it? Is it? Nice.
Very like
don't
Boy
know.
Scouts, Girl Scouts vibe.
Yeah.
The kids would learn, like survival skills. They would play recreational sports, lots of swimming.
Yeah.
You've seen movies.
I have Camp Nowhere.
So to a kid like Jacob Parsons, this was heaven. He would spend the next 7 weeks doing what he loved day in and day out. But Camp Mako had 3 main rules. Number 1, no one goes swimming without an adult present.
Okay. That one's
That's
good.
solid. Yeah.
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 No lifeguard on duty.
Right.
Ah.
Number 2, boys can't go to the girl's side or vice versa.
I was looking
Yeah.
for that rule.
Yeah. Unless it's like an organized event.
Nice.
And
dance in the middle of the lake.
Right. And rule number 3, absolutely no one can leave their cabin after dark.
Okay.
Those are solid.
That was one of my rules at camp. I remember hearing
Yeah,
that.
it makes sense for kids. For the
Okay.
most part, Jacob and the other campers found these rules to be pretty reasonable. But about 1 week into his first summer at Camp Mako, Jacob began noticing an interesting trend. Every night at around 2 a.m., he would hear really strange noises outside of his window that was really near to his bunk bed. So because the cabins were not air conditioned, the campers kept their windows open after lights out to kind of keep it cool and ventilated.
Naturally.
but there were screens on the window, so that way like bugs didn't come in, stuff like that.
The time between where screens weren't invented yet, oof.
That would have been rough.
Harsh times in Florida.
But so here's the thing, because the windows were open, it kind of made it like all the noise outside really loud.
Oh, absolutely.
You could hear it pretty clear. And so the sounds would vary from like rustling in the bushes to scratching on the walls.
Oh, goodness.
To screeching in the woods.
Screeching is nice.
Yeah.
It's peaceful enough to put you to sleep.
Puts me right
My
to sleep.
alarm clock has rainfall, screech.
Exactly. The old screech wake up. The noise that disturbed Jacob the most was the impossibly heavy footsteps that he would hear leaving the woods.
Oh, goodness.
That paints a picture.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So now, granted, this is all coming from a 12-year-old boy. So I think it's easy for us to be like, well, maybe it was like, the wind blowing or his imagination or whatever. And Jacob actually felt this way too. He basically knew that like, I think I'm hearing things. In fact, I'm pretty sure I'm hearing things, but I need a little backup.
Yeah.
I need someone to kind of help me out. So, he's only 12, but remember, he spent a lot of time outdoors.
Yeah, he knows what's up.
He's pretty confident. And so, after about a week of hearing the noises in the middle of the night, Jacob decides to tell his bunkmates what's going on.
Uh-oh.
There were two other boys that Jacob trusted in his cabin, one called Thomas and one called Michael C.
Nice.
There's more than one Michael, so.
Okay. He gets to see.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah. So the following morning, after breakfast and during their morning chores, Jacob tells Thomas and Michael that every night for the past week, he's been hearing something strange in the woods, sometimes really close to their cabin. He says that the two boys asked him basically the same questions that he'd been asking himself, like, are you homesick? Are you dreaming?
So nobody else has come forward saying that they've been hearing these things?
Well, yeah, well, there's a reason for that. Actually, in just a second.
Okay.
But Jacob swears to them that like he's feeling good, like he's not homesick.
Yeah.
And he's pretty sure he's hearing stuff.
If I'm Michael C., I'm like, why'd you tell me this?
Well, actually, Thomas.
I've been sleeping so well.
Right?
Thomas is a reasonable one. He says, "Let's tell a camp counselor."
Perfect. Yes.
But then Jacob and Michael C. are like, nah, let's figure it out.
Oh,
let's figure it out ourselves,
Josh would be the one that told the camp counselor.
Well, the problem is, how do you figure it out when one of the big 3 rules is don't go outside after dark?
Yeah.
Look outside with your eyes.
Well, Jacob Parsons has this brilliant idea. He says, let's stay up late this night and let's remove the screen from our window.
Oh, no.
And when we hear the noise, we will all 3 shine flashlights outside.
Oh, my goodness.
To kind of see
sneak attack
what it is.
Oh, God.
So as a grown man, this terrifies me.
Absolutely.
Because I think, I don't know what it is about the screen being removed, but it just feels like super vulnerable now. Like it's like
the screen was providing so much safety.
Yeah, like you're definitely going to die now. There's no screen.
The demon couldn't enter. Because
I'm also the
screen.
grown man that thinks that like a tent wall is going to protect me from a bear. You know what I mean? There's something about having that like
it's possible. Though.
Something there. Yeah, I guess so. But so they decided to take the screen off and basically, wait for it to happen.
Oh, goodness.
And it actually worked. Their plan worked in the most horrific way possible.
Okay. That's the point between not having the flashlight on and the click. That's where I immediately...
That's where the horror starts.
Pee my pants.
All I can think of right now is that Wayne's sister is going to be outside of the window.
Help me.
Yeah.
I know. So before going any further, to paint a picture of what their surroundings looked like, the reason why no one could hear this was actually because there's 8 cabins all in a row, kind of surrounded by wooded areas. And the cabins were numbered 1 through 8, 1 being the closest to the counselor's cabin and like the parking lots and stuff, and 8 being the closest to the woods.
Yeah.
And that's Jacob Parsons' cabin.
Yeah. Spook cabin.
Spook cabin is what they called it.
Yeah.
He's about 20 yards away from the tree line.
Oh, goodness. Nope. Don't like that.
So that evening at around 3 a.m, all 3 boys are sitting on the lower bunk nearest the window, and they hear at first what sounds like hooves running out of the woods.
Oh, goodness. Okay.
Put that screen back up.
Yeah, there are hooved creatures. In
Sure.
the
Yes, right off the
woods.
bat, it's like a horse is galloping out of the woods towards the cabin. But it would kind of like stop and start. The movement would and the noise. And so, again, as a grown man, at this point, I'm like, nope.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm done. But Jacob said that the boys listened closer and they could hear the sound of distant scratching. So whatever it was basically had gone around their cabin and was scratching on a different cabin now.
Ooh. That's why you have to trust more boys than the boys in your cabin.
Right, yeah. And so after a bit, it made a move back towards the woods, and they could hear like bushes and trees rustling, And so they knew whatever it was going to go back into the tree line. So if they wanted to catch it, they had to do it right now with the flashlights.
Oof. No, then you don't catch it. Who cares?
Right. So at that moment, Jacob Parsons, Thomas, and Michael C., they all three turned on their flashlights and they pointed out the window, and what they saw defied logic. Standing on two legs, approximately 6 feet tall, was a bear looking directly into their flashlight.
God bless.
Except it wasn't a bear.
Okay.
You just said it was a bear.
I know.
A bear.
The three boys all said they didn't know how to describe what they were seeing, except it wasn't any creature they had ever seen or heard of before. It stood like a bear, and it was covered in fur like a bear, but it had the unmistakable head of a wolf.
Oh,
okay.
What?
This is the worst combination.
So the creature hesitated for a moment before tearing through the tree lines out of sight.
Thank
so as you can
goodness.
imagine, this kind of messed the boys up pretty good.
Yeah.
Jacob Parsons said that all three of them started screaming, which woke up the other campers, which in turn woke up the counselors.
Wow.
And so before you know it, you've got adults pounding on the door like, hey, what's going on? And so the three boys tell their story, and the adults are having none of it.
Absolutely.
They don't believe it. They're like, whatever.
They go, listen, we've been here weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was some monster out there. We would know about it.
Absolutely.
They would have to check in, and we would see their signature
We'd
is
see
not
it.
human.
No monster has checked in.
No monsters have checked in.
So they basically tell the boys, go back to sleep and report to the main cabin tomorrow morning for your punishment.
Oh, cool. Yeah. That makes me feel good.
Yeah, exactly.
Report for spankings at this time.
So at sunrise, Jacob Parsons, Thomas, and Michael all head to the main office to explain themselves, and they tell the counselors exactly what they saw. And the majority of the adults weren't buying a word of it, except for one. Raymond Doris, the camp director, tells the boys that taking the screen off is a huge no-no. You're going to have extra chores. But then he says, I'm really interested in what you have to say. Like, tell me again. Like, what was it that you saw?
Oof.
It turns out the Creek Indians who lived on the land hundreds of years prior told similar stories.
Oh, gosh.
The director said that Native American legends of dog people were actually really prominent amongst the tribes in Central Florida. So, in fact, the name Camp Mako was derived from the name that Creek Indians actually gave the land, which was Nuna Kawa Mako, which means land of the great wolf.
Oh,
I thought that's where that came
I knew
from.
I've heard it somewhere.
Sound familiar, right?
All the boys had to do was look down at their jerseys and see that, that their
the screen print,
their logo was wolf,
A giant
bear.
wolf head.
Yeah.
So after hearing all of this, like the boy story is weird, but like now it's like, okay, well, I mean, like it's not that weird.
Yeah.
If there's like legends about
There's
it,
something to back it up.
the name
I
is
think immediately after that conversation, you pack up and you leave this area.
great point. So there's like evidence of this happening. And so the issue is the boys didn't see a normal wolf, right? So what they describe is this massive animal built like a bear with the head of a wolf standing on 2 feet.
Oof.
And so it also doesn't explain like the galloping heavy footsteps of whatever, was making that noise.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, Jacob Parsons, they were sent out to do their extra chores and go about their day. But
Hopefully it wasn't clearing the land by cabin 8.
Right. Well, less than a week later, the campers all wake up to some disturbing news. They were all being sent home.
Oh, thank God.
It had been barely 2 weeks into the summer. And now, for whatever reason, summer camp was over. So the campers and the parents were told that conditions weren't safe, and after further evaluation, the camp may reopen next summer. The families were fully refunded, and all the kids went home.
Jeez.
Jackpot.
However, the camp never reopened.
Oh, my goodness.
In fact, that same summer, the cabins were destroyed, and the staff were laid off permanently.
What?
What's fascinating
Destroyed
is...
by what? Werewolf?
Well, no, they came in and like the state tore them down and basically said, this is a bad idea. You got to get out of here. But never given a reason, really. In fact, it took approximately 2 decades for Jacob Parsons to find out the truth about the closing of Camp Mako. Jacob went on to get his degree in environmental science and park administrations.
Okay.
He was a park ranger and actually ran his fair share of summer camps.
He really wants to get to the bottom of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Well, along the way, 20 years later, he runs into his old camp director, Raymond Doris. So at this point, they're both grown men.
Yeah.
And they're discussing their jobs and where life has taken them. And in that conversation, Camp Mako comes up. And it turns out that the very next night after Jacob and his friends saw the creature, another counselor woke up to the same noises. And although he didn't have a flashlight, he basically swore the same thing and was freaking out.
Nope.
There was like an adult who saw the same thing. So it's Raymond Doris, the director, and 2 male counselors went into the woods the next day.
Nope.
Kind of following the path that the other counselor said he saw, the beast go down. About 50 yards into the tree line, they found a deer that had been completely eviscerated with its head missing.
Oh, what's the Cam? You're open carry. What's the predator that rips heads off deers?
It was a werewolf. Werewolf.
We're wrapping it up.
A werewolf did it. So that's 50 yards in. About 200 yards into the tree line, they find the head of that deer, along with at least 13 random destroyed deer.
What?
Jeez.
In the woods. The interesting thing is, this is a huge red flag. None of the animals had been eaten from.
Oh, that's not a good sign.
He's doing it for pleasure.
So, meaning whatever killed them didn't do it for food, it did it for sport.
Yes.
Now, the state of Florida, they made the call to close the camp. And the official reason they gave that the administration of the camp was an excess of black bear activity.
Okay.
However,
that makes sense.
Black bears are really small and not aggressive. And in fact, they eat mostly fish. And in 65 years of documentation, they've never killed for sport.
Or
in Florida.
Eaten just a deer neck.
Right. Yeah, they're not ripping the heads off a deer. Now, there is a trend called surplus killing, and that's where a predator will kill more prey than they can eat.
Okay.
And so some goes to waste. But the issue is that none of these animals have been eaten from at all. Oof. They had just been destroyed.
That's like me at the buffet. Surplus, and then I take it back.
Right.
But I can't eat it all.
Right.
Because who can?
To that buffet, you are a surplus predator.
That's it.
That's the name tag they give me?
That's it. So 20 years later, Jacob Parsons, he runs into his old camp director who basically says, like, look, I always believed you kids.
Whoa.
Like, I knew you guys were telling the truth. And so he spent not only did he believe the kids, he spent over a decade trying to validate their story for them. But he kept running into roadblocks from the state. Who wouldn't let him investigate.
Jeez.
So what's interesting is, in a past episode, we've actually covered the topic of cryptids. Cryptids are animals that have been rumored to exist, but there's no proof that they actually do exist.
And you found out that many animals were thought to be cryptids, but it was just a real animal.
Exactly. Yeah. So there is a precedent for an animal to, believed to be rumored or make believe, and then scientifically we actually discover them, and we're like, oh crap, like that's a real animal.
Manatee exists.
Right. Exactly. A manatee was one of them, and so I think what's fascinating is now we have this case at Camp Mako where we don't really know the answer as to what happened there. No. We've got hundreds of years of Native American stories claiming similar creatures roam the woods, so much so, in fact, that they named the land of the Great Wolf.
Well, we know what it hates. Obviously, deer necks. But it hates cabins.
It does hate cabins and kids.
It could not take down those cabins. It tried every night for 2 weeks?
I know, scratching away at it. But what's fascinating is we also discussed the Creek Indians in the past, and they weren't traditionally nomadic unless they were forced from their land. And they only spent about 20 years there.
Goodness.
So whatever it was forced them to leave the land whatsoever, and they named it, Land of the Great Wolf.
I mean, they've made it longer than 2 weeks, though. So
they toughed it out. And so it's fascinating to me. So I was doing some research, and I found out that according to cryptologists, Central Florida is a hot spot for werewolves.
What?
People who believe in that sort of thing.
I'm not going to sleep tonight.
Thanks. No, I think I'm with Thomas and saying, I wish you wouldn't told me. Let's tell an adult.
Yeah, well, I think, and there's some clashing here because you have a community in Florida who believe in the skunk ape, which is like Florida Sasquatch. And then you have other, people who are saying, look, man, there's werewolves in Central Florida, and a lot of the Sasquatch stories are actually being mistaken. It's actually
werewolves?
Big wolf activity.
Yeah. Don't like that.
And so I think with any cryptids, there's mythology surrounding it where it's werewolves are these mythical creatures. In reality, the people who believe in these werewolves are saying, no, it's just a giant breed of wolf that can stand up on 2 legs like a bear can, like other animals can. Either way, it's a mystery. My interpretation of a werewolf is that spicy boy from Twilight.
Oh, yeah.
The new Batman?
He would always take his shirt off. Yeah. Is that who it is?
Oh, no. That's the other
No.
guy.
He's the vampire. The other boy. I forget his name, but
He's for
Pecs.
Pecs.
Yeah.
Tan Pecs.
Right. And so we know there's been other instances where the land in Florida was so wild that like these legends sprung up and no one could ever prove them, like the volcano, you know, like Skunk Ape. And so this seems to be like another one of them. But according to Jacob Parsons, he still believes that there was in fact a werewolf at Camp Mako.
Something.
Yeah, I mean, even if you didn't believe that it was a werewolf or a bear wolf or whatever, I mean, just finding 13 dead deer without heads.
I think that's
I mean, that would, no wonder the state pulled him, because I'm sure the state doesn't believe the werewolf story.
Right.
But they believe 13 dead deer with missing heads. So whatever it is, they're going to pull the kids out.
And deer are traditionally, you know.
Yeah, they usually have heads.
Well, they do.
Traditionally.
They travel with their heads.
They do have heads.
Yeah.
The ones that I've seen, but they're not aggressive. So I think if an animal, if like a beast would do that to a deer, it would probably do it to a kid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like you guys know, I go out early mornings, dawn, and snapped a lot of deer necks. You know, while they're blinded by the sun.
Yeah.
Because of sunrise.
That's right.
That's a callback.
Yeah. I've never ripped one off.
No.
And once you do one, you're not able to get 12 more.
No.
Because they run away.
Because they run away.
And you've got some strong.
They like their heads.
You got some strong fist.
Yeah.
I've always said that.
Yeah, my fists are
your fist
super
area through your wrist into your forearms.
I've heard Miranda say that, which
Strongest I've ever seen.
Now, you look at me right now. It's like Popeyes in the wrists.
Exactly. Runs in the family. But it has been a fun week, and we want to give a shout out to Lady Colt on Instagram. She's doing a fantastic giveaway this week. And if you go to Instagram, it's lady.colt. And she's got some great stuff she's giving away. We're partnering with her.
Super
and
cool
we
stuff.
appreciate all that she does. And we appreciate you guys for listening in.
Yeah.
Thank
for
you.
checking us out on social media, FMOFM Podcast, and our website, FMOFM.com.
And wolfbear.com.
Yeah.
And wolfbear.com is, that's actually a dating site Josh belongs to.
Yeah, check me out on Wolf Bear.
Yep.
I'm the only subscriber right now.
But if you love hairy and funny,
Baby, I'm here.
he's here.
Grrr.